Hi, it's Jan from Melbourne Foodforest. Today I'm going to be showing you some of the tasks that I'm working on now in the garden that are keeping me busy in our late summer Melbourne Foodforest. It's crazy to think about, but we're already starting our preparations for our winter garden. So you really do need to start preparing about 2 months ahead. In the past, I've been really slow on our winter seedlings and seeds, and that really means that we haven't gotten a great harvest of things like broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage until spring. They kind of sit in cool, damp soil and don't do anything. So what I'm doing now is getting a head start on the season. So say these pink celeries, which are magnificent Chinese heirloom, delicious flavor and really pretty stems. So these we sowed, I think, early summer, and now we've been gradually sizing them up. So I moved them from smaller pots now into bigger pots, and they look so much happier. And that's what I do with all our seedlings, because you'll find that if you plant them out into the ground when they're little, they'll disappear and get eaten by pests, or they could bolt because they get stressed. Or, especially in winter, they sit in the soil and do nothing for about 3 months until spring and things warm up. So, these celeries looking lovely and happy. So that's just gone into that pot, and once I see roots poking up, I will size it up again. And this also means I can get my seedlings to an awesome big size before I actually have the bed space. Because if you have a look in our garden, it's chock-a-blocks. It's all summer. It's all tomatoes, cucumbers and pumpkins at the moment. There is no room to put these seedlings in, and if I waited till we had room, it would be too late. And I've done that in previous years, and yeah, you're better off getting your seedlings big first. So we've also just sized up our perpetual spinaches. They might look like silver beet, but they're different. They taste way better, in my opinion. They're much more tender and delicate, a bit like spinach but less grassy. And compared to silver beet, they're much more of a delicate, tender leaf. They're less fibrous and, you know, that kind of grassy tasting. Some people love silver beet. I'm not the biggest fan. I do love its colours, especially rainbow chard. And we do use it in other dishes when it's more pureed, like in a palak paneer, an Indian curry, or when we're making like spanakopita. But this perpetual spinach is something you can actually use in a stir fry. It's something that, you know, can shine, and it's so nice in soups. So these were sown about a month ago, and they were in a punnet, and I've just sized them up and moved them into individual pots. So after doing that, we're going to keep it in a shady spot and well watered until they're established. Now, another thing I'm doing is taking tomato cuttings. So if you don't know, you can take a cutting of one of your tomato lateral shoots, put it in water, keep the water clean, and it will produce new roots. So you can see here, little roots all along the stem. And then I'm going to pop that into soil, potting mix, keep that damp, and I'll have new tomato plants. And the reason why I'm doing this towards late summer is that I'm hoping to get another tomato crop in our greenhouse in particular over autumn. As you can see here, our greenhouse tomatoes are still producing, but they're definitely slowing down and they're coming to their last legs. So I'm hoping that the new ones that I propagate today, I will be able to pop them somewhere in the greenhouse once these finish off, and hoping to squeeze in an extra autumn to winter harvest. Our greenhouse isn't heated, but you know, it does help to pick cold tolerant tomatoes. So I have taken cuttings from our cold tolerant varieties like Siberian, Sweetie, and other cherry varieties are more cold tolerant and productive. So younger tomato plants are much healthier, more vigorous and disease resistant than older plants. So older plants just lose energy. So taking a cutting creates new plants, healthier plants with vigor. So I'm really hoping that, you know, we can extend our tomato season because we adore tomatoes. I tried this last year and, you know, we didn't get tomatoes over winter, but we did get really early tomatoes off those plants. So I managed to overwinter them in our unheated greenhouse. This year I'm starting them earlier from cuttings. So I'm hoping that the plants can get more established and be less susceptible to when the cold hits, like they'll be more mature and might even have some fruit on them. So we'll see how that goes. Now the other thing we've done is started some slow growing winter seedlings, plants that need a fair length of growing time. So here we've got cauliflower, purple Sicily, that's Happy Rich F1. It's the only hybrid that we grow, but it's such an amazing broccolini, small-headed broccoli with endless side shoots, and it's so sweet. So we grow that every year, and I've had the same packet of seeds for about 3 years now, and it's so good. Got some kohlrabi, rainbow chard, Savoy Verona cabbage, seeding up some lettuces as well because yeah, but it's hard to grow lettuces over summer, I find at least. And I've actually sown a few different types of seeds, but these are the only ones that have come up. Lettuce all year round, so they're much more heat tolerant. Lettuce seeds need cold to germinate. So I've got these other 3 that I've planted that at the same time, Celtus, Freckles and Little Gem, no results yet. So I'm going to pop these somewhere cold, like in the fridge, or somewhere cool indoors, to see if I can get them to germinate. Our broccolis. This is cauliflower snowball. And over here we've got one of our favourite cabbages, Red Acre, which is a compact dwarf cabbage. And you can see here, I just want to show you. So this is Tuscan kale. And it says here on the left, I've sown these were my own seeds. On the right, these were seeds I got from someone else in a swap. Planted at the same time. Can you see the difference? So when you've got healthy, vigorous seed that's acclimatized to your conditions, that you've saved yourself and stored properly, they pop out of the ground with vigor. Whereas these, I'm not sure we're going to get any germination on those. So, you know, good quality seed makes the biggest difference. So if you're failing, you know, a big part of the reason is often the seed. So we will be sowing a lot more, including our autumn flowers, the whole box of seeds that I will need to finish sowing today. We're not sowing any of the quick growers like the Asian greens yet because yeah, they grow so fast that you actually need to have the bed space for them. So I'm going to delay that by a month. And these boxes are just beside our back door on the patio, so I can keep a really close eye on them. At this time of year they need daily watering, at least once a day, so you need to keep an eye on them that they don't dry out, and I want to protect them in case there's any cabbage white butterflies because they might still be floating around at this time of year. And I'm going to keep a close eye on them and make sure that they grow up healthy and strong. Something else we've been really busy doing is bagging our tomatoes, because down our wall of tomatoes we've had a real rat problem, I think. The rats usually are just eating our passion fruits, but notice some nibbles that are not birds on our green tomatoes, so that to me suggests rats. I mean, the rats can definitely chew through this too, but it's a huge deterrent. Oh my gosh, look how big that tomato is. That is like a ½ kilo monster. And what variety was that? Let me just check. I mean, it's so overgrown now. I don't know if I can still find my labels. Oh, here we go. It's Black Russian. Black Russian. A really big this year. Or it could be our Purple Cherokee, which is over here and encroaching. Our cucamelons too. Little Mexican cucumbers, which are more like gherkins, are finally making the climb across the 2 sides of our water tank. Planted them later this year because I was waiting for them to sprout, because they are meant to be a perennial, but yeah, I didn't look after them well enough in winter, didn't mulch heavily enough, and moved them to a protected area, so mine didn't re-sprout. So I replanted from seed, hence they're a little later. But you can see baby fruit coming along. They're so teensy tiny when they first emerge. Blink and you'll miss them. But beautiful leaves, and this usually will cover our entire water tank, which is a great use of space and looks fantastic too, as well as giving us a yield. So that's what we're all about, is making the most of small spaces and using every inch of space to provide you with a yield or shade, or to provide insects with food. Yeah, look forward to showing you the baby fruit soon. They're great for lunch boxes and salads, as well as for pickling. So that one's going off the top, so I have been training them a little bit. It's hard to know whether I tame plants or they tame me. But yeah, it's a bit of both. So I'm trying not to let that go over the top because it's going to be harder to harvest and see. So I'm going to pull that thread up there and just move it down across here, and get it to start trailing across the water tank. It's also been some time spent on just tying in our pumpkins. So this is a tromboncino, I'm pretty sure, and this is our climbing zucchini, which is getting quite competitive here again. It's really squishy. But yeah, just training them up our washing line to make the most of space, and usually when this is all covered, it looks amazing with all these pumpkins hanging off it. Another big task at this time of year is harvesting. So much produce. So, look at this zucchini. This one got away. This one most definitely got away. This is like thicker than my arm, like a baseball bat. Golden zucchini. There's lots of babies on the way here. So our zucchinis are all getting this, last flush. They're going crazy. This has become a marrow. I miss this. So yeah, I will be harvesting all of these. Lots of harvests. Okay, let's harvest this big whopper. Oh my gosh. Eek. Okay, I can't even lift it. Look. It's like, yeah, bigger than my arm. It's so huge. Okay, now for number 2. Whopper number 2. Okay, this one's the golden one. Eek. Look at that. And, oh, I can't even lift that one. It's broke its top off. And this one. Yes, we will eat these. I know people, balk at the thought of eating like a marrow, but they're so good in zucchini patties. You can cut it up and freeze it, put it in your freezer, and you can have zucchinis all year round, and they still make delicious pickles. So, we don't mind them at this stage. Not that this was intentional by any means. They just take off over a few days in summer if you blink. Last one. This one's a Lebanese zucchini. And of course, tomatoes. We've got baskets of these coming out of our ears. Our second lot of corn have ripened as well. This is the Oaxacan green corn. It's an heirloom. How stunning is that? Now, summer is also a time to watch out for pests because the weather's warm and they get out of control. So look at that. Oh my gosh, yuck. That's all aphids. So this corn has actually finished up. So I'm going to chop it down and give these aphid infested leaves as a gift to our chooks, which they will feast on. One other thing that we're doing now in terms of pests is late summer you'll often find that your zucchinis, your cucurbits, pumpkins, cucumbers have a lot of mildew. So you need to prune off the lower mildewy leaves. Look, we've got lots of little ladybirds on these. These are fungus eating ladybirds. So I shake them off. Don't throw that out. They're good for you, and there's lots of babies on the back. So I'll carefully pick them off and relocate them to the leaves that I'm keeping, because they're your helpers in the garden. So this helps to improve airflow. We'll have a separate feature just on how to deal with powdery mildew, but this is one of the key things you should be doing regularly. And that means your plants can keep, and we train our zucchinis up as well, and like removing the mildew leaves means you're going to get a lot more harvest out of them than you otherwise would. So we can extend the season of our zucchinis. Because you can see down here, trained that up, you can see how tall and lanky that's getting, but it's still putting out a lot of new fruit, so you know, and it's quite compact, training it up a pole this way. Now this is why I keep a close eye on our seedlings right beside our door. Look at that. You need to check the backside of your brassicas. See those yellow dots? That is cabbage white butterfly eggs. So even though they're beside our back door, some have come here. Look, you can see that there as well. So we must have had butterflies come here and lay their eggs. I've seen it on a couple of them already. And there. So you're really vigilant because these seedlings are teensy tiny. So we really can't afford even a small caterpillar munching on them, because that's really going to set them back or kill them. So I am going to squish them. So say the ones here. So what you do is use your hand, run it along the back, make sure you gently squish them without damaging the leaves, and chuck them somewhere else. You don't want them anywhere near your brassicas, please. Thank you very much. And these two, let's get rid of them. Bye bye bye. Bye bye bye. Oh, Panda, hello. Channeling my NSYNC today for those who grew up in the 90s. Panda, do you want to help me keep an eye on my seedlings? Do you want to help me do that? Keep those nasty white butterflies away. Thank you. Yeah. This is why I get nothing done all day. Between the chooks and between you,